Yeah, welcome everyone. Let's take a few moments to enjoy the happiness of being together, sharing this space in our virtual compa, in our virtual temple. Connecting with each other. And before I start, I would like to, before we start with the meditation, I would like to say something general about my teaching. I think it's helpful to see what we share here, and also the commentary of Ken MacLeod as an addition to more traditional teachings. So yesterday I felt a bit critical towards me because I there is so much to say about ethics, and you can teach all the lists and 10 non-virtuous actions and the 10 virtuous actions and the lay vows and so on. So ideally, many of you have received this kind of teachings or will receive this kind of teachings. And I see myself a bit of encouraging you to be critical and reflect and be curious about what teachings do with your inner life, and find ways to see some of the teachings maybe not too literal, and see them in the context from where they come from, and also bring into your Dharma practice a sense of trauma orientation, of your wounding, and particular what Tara Brach calls the trance of unworthiness. And in my experience, I experienced that myself but also because I have been supporting many people the last 15 years in their practice. I see that the way often these teachings are transmitted in a traditional way, and also the text we study, that sometimes instead of guiding us into traveling lighter through life and more joyful, they become actually a burden, and they enhance the sense of I'm not good enough. And particular, sometimes they seem to support the sense that something is wrong with me and my feelings. So I'm not, I'm not giving you the lists and what you usually get in this kind of teachings, not because I have disrespect towards the traditional teachings, not at all. But I see my gift as an addition. And I would like to give you an example from the verse 26. So today we are covering 25 and 26, what we did yesterday, the ethical self-discipline and patience. So in the verse around patience, it says, cultivate patience for everyone without irritation or resentment. So this without irritation and resentment. So what does that do with us? Yeah, cultivate patience without irritation and resentment. If we see that as a prescription, if we see that as our practice, and not as descriptions of the goal, then somehow many people see this as, oh, my irritation and resentment is wrong. I shouldn't be irritated and I shouldn't have my feelings. Yeah? And plus, there is a tendency in the Tibetan teachings that they work with a kind of black pedagogic. So kind of, if there's resentment and irritation, you will be punished by going into hell. So let's take the example, feeling resentment and irritation towards a teacher. Yeah. So you get that kind of teaching. So the result of feeling resentment and irritation with the teacher is they have a particular place. It's called the Hell of Avicii or something like that. I don't remember the name, but there's a particular hot hell for people who feel irritation and resentment towards the teacher. You can see how problematic that is, because you can only heal what you feel. Yeah? You can only work with what you feel, and what you feel, the irritation and resentment, is out of control. It's not something you can say, okay, the vow is not to be angry towards my teacher, and yeah, but that's not the practice, right? That's a description of a goal we develop into. A fully awakened person doesn't have any irritation, resentment at all. So also not towards a teacher, but it's not the practice. And for us, an important part of our practice is to feel our feelings, to change our relationship to irritation and resentment. Because if you would see this as your practice, it would just lead to repression and fake practice and fear. And in some Buddhist groups, you wouldn't be even able to share your feelings because you shouldn't have them. It is a sign that you are not a valid Vajra brother, a valid Vajra sister, because you have resentment and anger towards the teacher. And by the way, it's stupid not to be critical to one's teacher and follow follow your feelings and follow your intuition. So this is an important point. I also tried to make yesterday, to distinguish the teachings which are a description. So the sixth perfection, they are a description of how a fully awakened being embodies herself in the world. It's not the practice. It's not the prescription. So then, of course, then we need to, for ourselves, we need to explore. So what is actually the practice here? How can I support myself to move towards that, to be a person with less and less resentment and irritation. And certainly, part of that must be to become curious about resentment and irritation, to feel it, and to actually see resentment and irritation not as enemies, but as allies on the path of awakening. Well, as Mikkel, he is also there. I see. Yesterday describes so beautifully how the pain, the contraction, that's actually the place where the light comes in. You know? Reminds me of Cohen's quote. Yeah? There's a crack in everything. That's where the light comes in. So the light comes in actually in the resentment and irritation. they are not hindrances, they are allies, they are the stepping stones. And only when we are willing to feel our feelings, particularly the one where we might understand the teachings that it is bad to have them, particularly these ones, they are the cracks where the light comes in, and that's where we grow. That's where we can get to know ourselves, because our resentment and our irritation has a connection with what has happened to us in our life. They are messengers for getting to know ourselves, getting to know where we are wounded, where we are hurt, where we are traumatized. So they are not to be avoided or suppressed or judged. So for me, the vows, the guidelines, 10 non-virtuous actions, 10 virtuous actions, they actually help me to become more mindful and more curious about these movements within me, but not to judge them, not to resist them, but to feel them so that I can heal them, and that I can address the underlying wound, the underlying hurt. So sometimes I question a bit I mean, we all know in the Buddhist teachings, ethics, ethical discipline is seen as very important, really as a foundation of our in our life. But if I look back, like 25 years, 30 years of practicing in the Tibetan tradition, I wonder if any of these vows I have taken really helped me. Did it really, did this taking these vows, did it really make me respect life more? No, it didn't. What does help me to respect life? Yeah, it's self-compassion, it's kindness towards myself. It's seeing that other people struggle like me. It's developing a sense of kinship to others. So that makes me respect life and protect life, but not because I follow a vow, because that's a natural aspect of my innate goodness. So how can I uncover that innate goodness? And I wonder, it's a maybe a helpful reflection also for those who you have practicing many years, and to reflect back into your life. Did actually taking the vows and the guidelines, did that really shape your behavior? Maybe sometimes. Or what was it? What is it actually? What in my practice actually supports my natural instinct, which we all have, to protect life, to protect others? I mean, one of the behavioral change I observed quite early in my practice, when I started to get into the teachings, was that my relationship to insects changed. So I see insects as people. But did the vow not to kill help me with that? No, it didn't. What helped me was to see them as people who want to live, who want to be happy, who have a life. What helped me was to feel kinship, friendship, connectedness. What helped me was the insight that I actually don't exist as this separate solid me, separate from others, but that I'm part of life. And then, of course, I'm part of life. It's natural to protect life, to respect life. and to adjust your behavior towards that as best as I can. So in our meditation now, I would like to look at patience. And what I would like to do is, after arriving and settling into our meeting, I would like to invite you to come in contact with a situation in your life or with a person where you are triggered. Yeah. And then, and then just work with that, with that response. And what I find really, really helpful is to work with the felt sense of our bodies. Yeah? To work with triggers, with resentment, with irritation, not so much on the conceptual level, which can be also helpful. Yeah? So there's Lojong teachings, mind transformation, where we change our attitude. But what I found particularly helpful is to change the relationship to the situation and to the person through changing the relationship, how you feel about that person or that situation. Kind of to shift from out there, oh, the person, the situation makes me feel like this, and how can I think differently about it, and so on, to actually bring the intention to your inner life, to your feelings, and not to change the feelings. So that's not the point, not to change how you feel, but to look into, is there a more wholesome way, a more constructive way to relate to how you feel in that situation, and to see the resentment or the irritation not as an enemy you need to get rid of, but actually as the crack where the light comes in. So to start a curious communication with the irritation and resentment you have in your body. What you want to heal, you need to feel. Yeah. What you resist persists. I mean, we know all this kind of pointers, and it's easy to kind of, okay, I've heard that before, but they are actually really profound if you look into your experience again freshly, yeah, like curiously, with a beginner's mind. Okay, so let's take our seat. That's actually, one of the important allies in this in the work with ethical discipline and patience is to increase your capacity to find a safe place, to increase your capacity to find a sacred place for you, a grounded place, a place where you feel safe and supported, so that you can turn to your inner life, to that what hurts in you, from a bigger space, a space where you are connected with your resources. And that's what you do when you take your seat in the Sangha. Yeah. So I invite you to do that just in your posture, And in that posture, expressing tenderness, but also a certain sense of dignity. And in this posture, we commit ourselves, we commit to being here and being with ourselves, being with what is arising in the present moment. And if you like, you can close your eyes. And allow a shift to happen. A shift from the head into the body, from doing to being. And you notice that your awareness, your attention slides into the body. And there is a sense of welcoming, of acknowledging. Maybe welcoming is sometimes a bit too much, but at least acknowledging. Acknowledging how you feel and not acknowledging this present moment, which is turning up. And you can anchor yourself with the breath or the sounds around you or the sensation in your hands. Present moment awareness. And it's what is really beautiful in this welcoming is, you're not only doing it for yourself. So we're doing it together as a group, welcoming the human condition, because we all struggle in different ways, but also not so different. So if you bring tenderness and kindness towards your condition, to what is unfolding in front of you or within you, what is unfolding within you, you actually share that with each of us. So nobody is alone. Maybe you want to deepen your breath for a few moments. So with the out breath, there can be a sense of softening and opening in the shoulders and the belly. And slowly and naturally, without any effort, the space within which your experience unfolds becomes bigger. And thoughts, they are not so important right now. The radio station of the narrative self keeps on advertising its fake news, but you have the possibility not to listen so much, neither getting involved nor trying to get rid of it. It's like it's going to the background, this inner voice. And instead, aliveness comes to the foreground. Aliveness which we experience together. Presence. And you might notice parts of your body or energies which are more flowing and alive, but also you might notice experiences of tightness or tiredness. And we just acknowledge this is how it is. This moment is what it is. It can't be different than it is because it's connected with everything else. And we can struggle with it, or we can relax that struggle. Letting things be, letting yourself be. And returning. And then resting. So there's more and more resting. Resting on the floor or chair, which carries you. And resting in the safe space of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And then, if it makes sense to you, we invite our guardian angels in whatever form ever. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the Buddha, Tara, Amasupa Rinpoche. And while we are doing that, we stay aware that these symbols, they are symbols of our own Buddha nature. They are symbols of our inner Tara, of our inner Guru. Of the goodness within us. So how would it be right now if you would feel completely held and loved and seen? And how would it be? How would this moment be if you would completely love yourself? If you would completely love yourself like Buddha loves you, like Jesus loves you, like Tara loves you, how would that be? And you step into that. How would it be? You step into that, you feel that. How would it feel in your body? In your whole body? from the toes to the top of your head. How would it be if you completely loved yourself? Present moment awareness. In a field of essence love, in a field of unconditional love. And rest. There's nothing for you to do, just receiving sensations, sounds, feelings. And receiving it within this space, which is bigger than the narrative self. And whatever arises, or whatever is unfolding within you, everything is unfolding within you. Arises within awake awareness. So your sense of self, the body, your memories, your roles, your habits. All that what you think you are arises within that vastness. And that vastness is in the nature of love. It's undescribable, ungraspable, but there is a goodness there, a tenderness. So you feel this moment as it is. And in the same time, there's spaciousness. So now, into this moment, into this sacred space, I invite you to bring your mind to a person or a situation which triggers you, which hurts you. And this could be a health issue. It could be something relational. Most of our tension and struggle is around relationship. It's around relationship, but anything. So maybe you already brought something into this session. And so go a bit towards the conceptual mind and recall that situation. So a bit of a story, huh? A bit of a story, memories. And if it's difficult for you, don't worry. So this is just a little experiment. So and then notice how this story, how these words, these memories, these images, how do they affect the felt sense of your body? Just be curious about that. So if you would look for the place in your body, in the felt sense of your body, where this situation lives, where it manifests. And then you bring your attention there from spaciousness. Not too close and not too far. So you find a bit of a balance there. So you don't lose the sense of spaciousness, of groundedness, of that which is bigger than you. But in the same time, you gently move forward. So where is it in your body? How does it feel? And while we're moving towards that contraction, that pain, or we stay aware that we're doing this together. We're looking together at that which hurts, and that which is usually met with judgment and fear and resistance. So let's look at that together, supported by all the Buddhas. Breathing with it. And just say hello. Hello, I see you. I feel you. Just acknowledge. I feel you. And notice how that part of you responds to being acknowledged, to being allowed. Just notice. Maybe it intensifies, that might happen. Maybe it relaxes a bit. Kind of finally, you see me, finally I'm allowed to be here. So no matter what, maybe it stays the same. Just notice what happens. Yeah. Hello, feeling. I feel you, I see you. I acknowledge you. Sometimes it might disappear even, or soften, just by saying hello, just by acknowledging, this is how I feel. It's fine, it's okay. I see you. If you feel resistance, then just include the resistance into the sensations. So acknowledge the resistance. Acknowledge that you struggle with this feeling. That's also fine. That's also okay. Hello, resistance. Hello, struggle. I see you. I feel you. So what is it what you resist here? What is it what makes it difficult for you to feel this feeling? And not, not try not to go too much into the conceptual mind. Just notice what comes up. What is it? What's so difficult with this feeling? I mean, it's just a feeling we all share, an energy. What does it make? What does it make you What does it make it difficult for you to feel that feeling? What is it what you resist? And what does this feeling need? So, you can actually kind of ask that feeling itself, not going to the conceptual mind for answers, but assuming that there's a wisdom in that feeling, that the feeling, the sensation in your body has some wisdom. So what does it need? What comes up for you when I ask that? What does it really need? Another question could be, what is it what it wants to give? Why is it there? What is it? What is it what is it what it wants to contribute? And just keeping it in your tender awareness. With an attitude that all feelings, all inner movements, that they are allies, friends. And assuming that you have the capacity to feel all feelings, that none of your feelings is poisonous or dangerous. Just something to feel and learn and grow from. And then let's again emphasize that we are looking together. So the softness and tenderness you give to yourself, you give to everyone here in our meeting. You're not alone with this, whatever it is. And if you give that feeling what it needs, or if you listen to what it has to say, you actually give all of us what we need. And you start to listen to our difficult feelings, so-called difficult feelings. So patience here is not having this feeling. Patience is to find a different relationship to that feeling. A loving, spacious, curious relationship. And the last question could be asking that feeling, what would be the next step in this situation, in this relationship? What could be a next step? And then you bow to that feeling, bow to that feeling as a teacher. You know, how does that feeling respond when you bow to it? And then you broaden your attention again into your whole body, to the breath. To your surroundings. Also acknowledging for yourself that challenge, that situation is just a part of your life as it is right now. There's much more. Sometimes we forget that. So it can be there, but it doesn't fill the whole space. And then you take your time to open your eyes, not with the sense that you stop the meditation, but just integrate the visual into the meditative awareness, the opening to the wonder of seeing. And I just need a little break, just a few minutes. So see you in a few minutes. Yeah, maybe someone would like to share something about this meditation, or maybe there's some questions. Did you find that helpful or difficult? Were there some surprises? Yeah.
I'll share. Thank you. That was so beautiful. And I felt like I touched in deeper to a certain place that I haven't arrived at before. And what was really provoking for me was the wisdom and the tenderness of these places that are contracted.
Mm.
And when I just really loved them and gave them space, their energy kind of shifted or melted. But I could tell that the healing was in the love and the care that I presented to those places.
The healing wasn't.
The healing was in the
okay, yeah.
in the care and the love that I
Mm.
presented to those places.
Mm.
And yeah, just a lot of tenderness. So thank you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Yes, Philip.
So thank you, Stephan, for this and all of your teachings. For me, in this exercise, it was wonderful. But in this exercise and in similar ones before, there's never a specificity. I've never really been able to understand the expression "feel it in your body." For me, it's a more general sense. Here today, it was like a sense of a lack of energy, or it wasn't exactly sadness or depression, but that would define it more closely than calling it, say, a pain in my right kidney, you know?
Yes. What do you mean? It's when you said it's nothing specific in the body.
Yes. So often I hear you say, feel it in your body, and I
Yeah.
interpret that to mean get out of your mind and
Yeah.
into your body. So I do try to do that, and I don't feel it in my body anywhere really, except in the most nebulous kind of way.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. It's in a most nebulous way.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. It's a feeling of
Oh.
connection beyond my body.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad thing at all.
No, no.
It's a feeling of connection
To,
beyond my individual body.
yeah, yes. Mm-hmm. But so if if I would ask you that what you just described as the feeling, where is it located in your body? You wouldn't be able to say it.
At this point, I would say it is not located in my body.
It was not located in the body. Mm-hmm. Where was it located?
Well, I've asked myself this question a lot since listening to you over these last couple of years. And so in Vermont, I would sit on my porch and I'd look at a mountain and I would try to say, where is this consciousness? Is it in my head? Is it in the mountain? Is it in a space between me and the mountain?
Yeah, yeah.
It's all around.
Right. Yes. Mm. Yeah. You can't describe it. Mm. Yes. That's beautiful. Mm.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's like coming home.
Yeah. Yes. So the did you have that sense in this meditation of coming home?
Well, so the thing I was focusing on was a relationship which causes me a lot of sadness and has for about 15 years.
Yeah.
So coming home in the sense that the sky is blue, and I love that.
Mm.
Coming home in the sense that it is what it is, and I love that.
Mm.
Understanding that the sadness is not specific to me.
Yeah, right. That's a big part of the, yes. That's a big part of the change. Mm. Yes. And that sadness, do you feel that in the body?
No,
No. How do you
but
know
that's,
it's how do you know it's sadness?
well, I was going to say that's not to deny that it isn't there.
Yeah,
Um,
I know. That's
and
definitely
yet
not what.
a moment ago, I was thinking the sadness is just a label that I stick on this thing.
That's right. Uh, right. Mm.
That in some way, it's no different than the color of the sky.
Mm. Yes, that would be a profound insight. Mm. And what happens with the sadness when the word sadness disappears?
It remains.
Yeah,
It remains. It continues.
yeah.
It's not. It's not so personally troublesome, I think.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's patience. Mm. Yeah. And I imagine it also connects you then with all of us. Yeah. So there's you said that that like the personal relaxes around it. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I've
Yeah.
come to believe that my consciousness is not an individual thing.
Mm. Mm. Yes, a big part of it. Yeah. Mm. Yes. Yeah.
So my sadness is your sadness, and your sadness is my sadness.
Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
okay. That's the
Yeah.
way it is.
Yes. Yeah. It's beautiful to be sad together. Mm. Yes.
And the sadness loses the quality of its old meaning.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Right. Mm.
So thank you for all of this,
Yes.
all of
Thank you.
this stuff. It's
Yeah.
wonderful stuff to experience and to think about and to practice.
Mm. Yeah.
It is like discovering pure water.
Mm. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Same. Yes.
Hi.
Romy. Hi, Romy.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah. Where are you?
I'm in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn. Okay.
Yeah.
That's part of New York.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Thank you so much. I don't think I yet have the words to describe, where that took me, and I kind of like that, actually. I'm a person who uses a lot of words generally, so I'm gonna enjoy this. But I was relating to, I think, Philip. Yep, Philip. At the same time, I was thinking about the moments when I would be in something I think very akin to what he was describing, and then catapulted back into conventional reality with like a really sharp pain in my shoulder every time I went toward, like, feel it in your body. For me, it was a sense of helplessness / resentment. So this ping ponging that I'm trying to make a little bit of sense of conceptually, as well as just feeling it. It would subside, and then it would come back, and then it would subside, and then it would come back. So I was with the movement of it, and trying to continue to allow there to be tenderness around, like, wow, how actively shape-shifty the energy felt. It's settling.
So you there was a pain in your shoulder, you said.
Yeah. Very, very distinct. And I think at one moment I thought of it not as pain, but as energy doing something.
Yeah.
And like, I just wanted to be curious about why is the energy, not even why is the energy doing this, but what is this thing that's happening energetically? I kept certain, I don't remember what your prompts were, but that's where it took me into thinking of it or feeling it that way.
So an assumption is here that so in that pain in the shoulder, there is a wisdom there. So the kind of the direction with this meditation would be then to explore that pain in the shoulder and ask there. So not to ask the conceptual mind, but to kind of, so I see you. So that would be always the first. So I see you. You are there. Okay. And it's something familiar. So you know it. And then being curious about that. What is it, what you would like to ask? So you ask not the conceptual mind, or you're not looking in a book or something, but you have a curiosity in asking that. It's maybe there is some part of you wants to prevent you to look into that what you looked before. Yeah. So that part wants to protect you from something. Yeah. What is it? What so
I found the way that the meditation unfolded, I was able to do that more than ever before. So that was fantastic. And that's when I think I could find my way into spaces that felt less conceptual. I wasn't even thinking about shoulder or
yes.
what my shoulder was actually.
Yeah.
It was just lovely.
Yes.
Wildly, just can't think of a word that even begins to point to it, but fascinating is the best I can come up with right now.
Yeah, so if you want to explore this a bit more deeper, you could look into two different methods. One is called focusing, and the other one is called internal family systems therapy. So because you feel, wow, there is some possibility here to learn something from the felt sense in my body. Yeah. And these two methods, they help us to to refine this process of starting a different dialogue with the different processes which are happening with the different parts of us. I think it's wonderful, because often when we have something we struggle with, we look for solutions somewhere else, explanations somewhere else. Yeah? And here we are invited to turn towards that and listen to that as part of our healing process. It's really a beautiful approach to difficult feelings.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Pat.
Yeah, I was dealing with someone who can irritate me to the point of practically homicide. I mean, to just, through no fault of her own. And the meditation, and I've been thinking, what is this about? I mean, I've been, sort of pondering that lately. And so the meditation really helped me, first of all, to separate her out from the whole picture.
Right.
And I really realized the part that was suffering and being enraged is very young, and I could really kind of pinpoint it to almost a time and place and other relationships. And so that was really, really helpful. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Yeah, that could be one question to ask. How old are you? Yeah? So the kind of the answer came to you, but that could be part of this dialogue. Yeah? So how old are you? Because it's so important for us to see the connection with our psychological history, and because just out of the reason, when we see the connection with our psychological history, it enhances our compassion, our kindness, our forgiveness. This resentment, this resistance is not there because we are bad people or something like this. It is there because something happened to us, and this resentment or irritation appeared in our life as a protector, to protect us back then. They are good guys. But they could be outgrown, because we are bigger now. Yeah. So we are still handling a person or a situation as we didn't have any other possibility as a 3-year-old, but now we have other possibilities. Yeah. Yes. Jennifer, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, thank you, Stephan. This touches me deeply, because I'm a somatic psychotherapist. I do this practice all day long with my clients, and yet today I Dr. Heal Thyself. I went to a sensation, a relationship with someone that gives me a sensation of a contraction in my stomach, and in doing the healing aspects of what you were offering, I went back to find it again, and it was gone. And instead of feeling relieved, I missed it. And this is something from a very long time ago. So I was so curious about that. I felt, oh my goodness, where'd it go? Like, I almost wanted it somehow, still holding on to it. So I felt that so fascinating, and I'm going to sit with it for a little while.
Yes. Yeah, that's really interesting, to acknowledge our attachment to pain. Yeah, almost like a fear of letting go, or a wonderment about it. Yeah.
Something about was the contraction of protection, was the contraction, the fear itself. You know, I'm still kind of sussing that out. So, yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So let's also read the verse 27. For bodhisattvas who want to be rich in virtue, a person who hurts you is a precious treasure. Yeah. So a person who hurts you is a precious treasure. Again, that's not the prescription, it's the description. So what sometimes we try to do is kind of to change from how to say, from bottom, from down, no, we try to change through thinking differently. Yeah, so we get the teaching, okay, the difficult people are precious. Yeah, and then we try to think that, and we try to see that person like that, but that's not how we feel. So the question here is, how can we get to that view, to see that person as a precious treasure? And how we get to that view is through this kind of work we just did. That's the practice. Yeah, I mean, Pat could say forever, this annoying person is precious. She was my mother in previous lives, and all this conceptual stuff, trying to think differently, trying to reframe our view, but that doesn't address the way we feel. But now, if Pat would work with that pain she carries, and it would become obvious, wow, it's actually the pain I experience with that person which has the potential for me to become more compassionate to myself and to other people. And then our view of that person starts to change, not because we took a vow, I want to see the difficult people in my life as precious treasure, but because we have done the work, we have done the practice. And then we don't need to tell ourselves anymore, oh, the difficult people in my life are precious. It is like that because we have done the work, we have done the practice. If you would develop a kind of immature relationship to this vow, let's say it's not, I mean, in a Lojong practices, it's kind of a commitment. Yeah, so it's not a vow, but it's a commitment to see difficult people as treasures. So if you would have an immature relationship to that guideline, then you would notice, you would either repress how you really feel and just insist on a superficial level. Yeah, people are precious, they have been my mother and they have been kind in previous lives, blah, blah, blah. But it wouldn't be embodied. And you would judge yourself for how you feel if you are still connected with your feelings. Yeah? Because you don't feel grateful towards that person. But you think you should be grateful to that person. So you judge the way you feel, and that takes away the opportunity for you to feel what you want to heal and to feel what you want to learn from. Yeah, and then I already read this to you in the beginning. Cultivate patience for everyone. I mean, cultivate patience for everyone. This is this is really like a very idealistic vision, like really like just, you know, something to say, to feel, to take as a compass, not as something to judge yourself. Without irritation or resentment. So again, I take this, I read that not as, oh, I have to be like that, and that is the practice, not to cultivate irritation or resentment, but I take that with that question, okay, so where do I feel irritation and resentment? And can I start with having a different relationship to my irritation and resentment? Understanding it is the irritation and resentment which is the crack to which the light comes in. That's the place where I grow. So an irritating person in my life becomes precious because that person helps me to connect with something inside of me which I can feel and which I can work with. If that person wouldn't be in my life, I wouldn't be able to heal what I feel because it wouldn't come up. That's the danger of a kind of relationship-free, idealistic practice somewhere in a cave. You know? And there's so much within us which we need to feel in order to heal it, which doesn't come up in our meditation practice. That's the preciousness of being in relationship, that we have these difficult feelings so that we can heal them. Of course, there is value in a kind of retreat-like meditation also for many, many years. But I'm sure it's not going to bring up everything. We need to be in relationship for this stuff to come up. Yes. Yeah, and then I already mentioned that yesterday, how we take this, so the practice of patience into the perfection of patience. So the perfection part, perfection is not a good word, but into the parameter of patience. And that is what we did yesterday, turning our curiosity towards that which is aware. So that's that could be an addition. So we do this dialogue with the part, learning from it, and so on, like you also shared now. Enjoying possible some release by just being curious about it, by inviting it back. Hello, tell me more. I see you. Acknowledging, being honest. Sometimes Dharma practice, kind of immature Dharma practice, keeps us away from being honest, how we really feel. It leads into pretense, because we are ashamed of being irritated and resentful and hating our mother. We're supposed to love our mother. from a teaching point of view. So after that, so we are doing that dialogue and grow with what we feel and learn from it. Then at one point, that can be in the same session, we can make a little shift in our curiosity, in our investigation, from the clouds to the sky, from the images in the mirror to the mirror itself. Like I shared with you in our meditation yesterday, self-inquiry. And here self-inquiry, not as self-inquiry into the conditioned level of our mind, in the content of our mind. That's also part of self-inquiry and getting to know yourself. But self-inquiry into the nature of mind, into that which is aware. So whatever you can describe, that's something which is changing. Yeah? So you're aware of feeling contracted, and you're aware of feeling a bit released after the meditation. You are aware of the stories around it, and you're aware of the knowledge which this pain might give you. So all that is content, which is different. But within all of that, there was a knowingness of that. It was known. It was experienced. So now, to make this a perfection of patience, we need to make this little shift, relaxing the fascination with the content to the context within which the content comes and goes. And the context within which the content comes and goes, in the analogy of the clouds and the sky, that's the sky. The analogy of the images in the mirror, it's the mirror itself. That's where your home is. That's the essence of the three gems. That's the essence of refuge. That's going home. Going home. Actually, it's not really a going home. It's a sense that you're always home. You never left home, because what you're aware of changes throughout your days, throughout your lives, months, years. But that context within which your life is arising, consciousness itself, awareness itself, this is not changing. That's where that would be called that kind of shift of identity, the relaxation of identity with the content, with all these beautiful processes we just described, which are really helpful. So they are not invalid, but there is something bigger, there is something more. That's what we turn our curiosity towards. What is aware? When we look there, when we start to look there, when we start to listen towards that, or touching that, we start to touch, listen, intuition. So it's a very different kind of knowing. so much different than knowing that sometimes it's called not knowing. So it's undescribable, ungraspable, but it is not nothing. It's non-conceptual. And when we have glimpses of that, what arises from that is different ways to express it, but like Philip said something, your sadness is my sadness. It sounds like a bit too much, to say something like this, but that's exactly how it feels. The sadness doesn't disappear, but it ceases to be mine. Because when we look there, there's no mine or me or myself there. But that doesn't make the appearance go away. When the mirror realizes its mirror-like capacity, then the mirror images, they don't disappear, but the mirror doesn't identify anymore with the images of the mirror. In a way, nothing changes, but everything changes. Because feelings don't go away. The I, which has the feelings, that drops. So then a feeling like sadness can be actually really, really connecting, really, really coming home. Because it's not my sadness anymore, which is threatening me or which is heavy for me. Okay. Yeah. So let's share the positivity of this meeting, and maybe from what I just said, if there's a sense of openness, a sense of connectedness with everything, then it really makes sense to share goodness with everything, because you're not separate from everything. You can actually share your goodness with everything because this is everything, and we are not disconnected from it. So we can really, from this moment, share the tenderness, the inspiration, the kindness which arose between us and within us. We can share that with our surroundings. Yeah. So it's so beautiful that the space between, the physical space between us is so big, but the beingness space is very intimate. Yeah. So we can really share the goodness into this vast space. And maybe there's particular people or situations you want to share this. And also let's acknowledge His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, the FBMT, as the container of this meeting. So we share this positivity also with the activities of His Holiness and Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And then there's maybe particular people in your life you would like to give a shower of goodness. Okay, thank you very much. See you next time. I'm looking forward to that. And have a nice day over there.